Hello, my name is Amma,
And my name is Sarah.
and we are from Barnet Integrated Clinical Service.
Our presentation today is on sleep. It's a pre-recorded workshop to help you understand common childhood bedtime struggles and how sleep can be disrupted. Learn how to build a positive bedtime routine and encourage good sleeping habits.
So now we're going to think about healthy sleep habits. You might have heard this being described as sleep hygiene. These are sleep practices that help you settle to sleep and stay asleep during the night. These practices can help you get to sleep easier and feel more rested whilst promoting good health. Good sleep habits are as important for children as they are for adults.
So there are many common sleep problems, such as fear of being alone or separated from a loved one, being frightened of the dark. Maybe your child has worries, e.g. a monster under the bed, or worries about burglars. Sometimes children get into bad habits with their daytime napping, which can affect their sleep at night. Being overtired is a common sleep problem, as well as nightmares.
Take a moment to look at this diagram. This sleep tree shows us why sleep matters. It breaks down what happens when you sleep enough and some of the things that can stop you from having a good sleep in the evening.
So what actually happens when we're asleep? It's quite incredible that whilst you're asleep, your brain and body are doing things that they don't have time to do when they're awake, such as repair or fight infections. We grow in our sleep, and also at night, our brain sorts out all the information gathered during the day and processes it.
So here are some of the basics of good sleep habits. It's very important for your child to get the right amount of sleep, and children of different ages need different amounts of sleep. The figure on the right gives you an idea of how much sleep your child needs.
This slide gives us the basics of good sleep habits and can be used as a checklist. Ensure your child has a good bedtime routine. Go to bed at the same time every night and get up at the same time every morning. Ensure a dark, quiet, cool environment, as this helps your children relax and prepare for sleep. They need to feel safe and secure in their nighttime environment. Avoid oversleeping or lying in bed for prolonged periods of time after sleep is completed. Avoid big meals before bedtimes. Have a light snack instead. And exercise during the day helps your body get ready for sleep at night.
So now let's think about creating a bedtime routine. It's about creating a bedtime pattern. Have a shift activity to signal to the brain that it's bedtime. This activity should last 10 minutes, such as having a quick snack or saying goodnight to pets. Complete the bedtime routine, such as bath time, brushing teeth, and reading a story. This is also to ensure that they have no reason to get out of bed, so they've been to the toilet and had some water.
It's really important that children are able to wind down before they go to bed. Start the nighttime activity 1 hour before bedtime. Find relaxing activities such as looking at stars or taking a bath. This signals to the brain that it's time to wind down. At this point, the body produces melatonin, which helps us sleep at night. Create a snug activity such as reading in bed or listening to a story. Finally, have a snooze activity such as giving a kiss goodnight or a back rub, and this is the final signal to the brain that it's okay to fall asleep. This will then become a pattern.
It's very important to avoid electronics or technology in the hour before bedtime, as this can disrupt our sleep. Take a moment to look at this diagram to see how this can happen.
So how do you deal with resistance to bedtime? It's important that the adults in charge decide on a bedtime and establish the bedtime routine. Give warning 10 to 15 minutes before the child is expected to go to sleep. Although it is difficult, try to be firm and ignore their protests. Check in. Agree if they don't call out, you will check in and see them again after 5 to 10 minutes. Have a reinforcement program, such as returning the child to their room using time out or an earlier bedtime tomorrow if there's difficulties and resistance at bedtime.
Here are some guidelines you may find helpful. Don't go into the child's room unless you must. For example, if they're really upset. This encourages the child to self-settle. If a child wakes, assume that the child has to go to the bathroom and steer them that way. Be gentle and quiet. Try not to put any lights on, as this will wake them. Try to avoid eye contact or engaging them in conversation, as this will waken them more. If your child wakes from a nightmare, then provide reassurance to help settle them back to sleep, but avoid engaging in conversation.
Anxiety. Many children struggle to get to sleep and stay asleep because they are worried. Some children experience fear that they won't be able to sleep. Some children even start worrying about sleep hours before they actually go to bed. Some children wake up in the middle of the night and start worrying that they won't be able to fall back asleep, and so they don't. Trying to talk reasonably to your child usually doesn't work in this situation. Instead, break the worry cycle and help your child learn to fall asleep.
Here are some tips for managing anxiety. Pillow talk. Sit on your child's bed or snuggle beside them and talk about whatever is on their mind. Tell your child in advance that you want to spend some special time with them, but that you can't stay too long. Listen and try not to talk too much. Sometimes the listening alone will allow your child to solve their own worries. Allow your child to self-regulate their bedtime. Where the child is anxious and can't sleep, perhaps allow them to read in bed for a short period of time. Try to keep the room lights dim and perhaps use a reading light.
Some more tips for managing anxiety. Allow them to give their worries away. There is a tradition in Guatemala of teaching children to give their worries to little colourful dolls called worry dolls or trouble dolls. Children can tell their dolls their worries and then put the dolls under their pillow. The dolls then worry for the child while the child sleeps peacefully. You could try teaching your child to give away their worries to an inanimate object such as a stuffed animal or a doll you already own. Don't skip the story time. A bedtime story can refocus your child's mind in a positive imaginary world and help them forget their worries.
And finally, avoid stimulants. Avoid caffeine and energy drinks and be aware of hidden stimulants in chocolate. Anxiety and sleeplessness are side effects of many medications, including over-the-counter cold medications and ADHD medications. If you think your child's medications are part of the problem, check in with your doctor. Regulate fluids. Getting up in the night to use the bathroom is a common sleep disturbance. It seems simple, but your child might just need a reminder not to drink anything after dinner, except while brushing teeth, and to use the toilet before bed.
How to tackle nighttime awakening. Provide a nightlight. Be understanding, but never take them to your bed or say their dreams are ridiculous. Return your child to their room if they come into yours. Ignore crying if you suspect there's nothing wrong and you've already settled them. And most importantly, help them feel safe and loved during the day.
Sleeping on their own. When your child struggles to fall asleep on their own, these ideas might be helpful. Create a step-by-step plan, reducing the time you spend with your child whilst they fall asleep. This may mean you physically move yourself away, or the light stays on for a specific amount of time. This should be a gradual process, so the child becomes used to each step as you attempt them.
We all have a bad night's sleep every now and then, so when is it a one-off bad night versus a chronic sleep problem? A bad night's sleep can be very distressing for you and your child. Using the basics of good sleep hygiene slide as a checklist, see if there's anything that might have changed in your child's room. Try not to change everything at once. Small changes will be more realistic than trying to radically change everything at the same time. Do stick with it and give these ideas a chance. Persistence is the key.
If the sleep problems continue, think about any changes which may have occurred or are currently happening in your child's lives and how these changes might be impacting them. Try to address their worries by talking them through and using other suggestions from this workshop. If nothing is improving and you are concerned there may be an underlying reason why your child is not sleeping, consult your GP, who may make a referral to a pediatrician to check for underlying causes of sleep problems, or may refer you to one of our teams in BICS.
These are some great books that might help improve bedtime. The pink book, Helping Your Child with Fears and Worries by Kathy Cresswell and Lucy Willett, is particularly a good book which addresses lots of fears and worries a child might have.
BICS is a mild to moderate mental health service looking after children, families, professionals, and young people in Barnet. If you would like to refer a child, young person, and/or family to BICS, please fill the Universal Plus form on the Barnet website.
BICS has our own support line, which is available for children and young people, families and professionals. If a child has a higher level mental health needs, they should be referred to the CAMS service and/or access crisis support as appropriate. There are some links here where you can find further information regarding the services we offer.